Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts. In Indy, Colts favored by 1.5 here. Daniel Jones making his Colts debut.
Danny Dimes. The Dolphins. Danny Dimes back. Explosive plays.
Discuss.
No? I mean, look, I'm kind of curious about what the Daniel Jones thing will look like.
Danny curious.
Early in his career, there were some explosive plays there, and then they just stopped happening. They completely dried up. He obviously dealt with some injuries as well. I think that was part of it. But, the man can still throw the football now. It's not like he's lost all arm talent because of injuries in his past. He can still throw, and more importantly, perhaps, he's perfectly capable of operating this offense the way it's designed with Shane Steichen. And we keep talking about this is a talented team. Maybe the offensive line has some question marks more than they had the last couple of years. But the receiving core, I think, is really good now. And with Josh Downs and Tyler Warren, you have two high-volume, relatively underneath, over-the-middle targets that even if Danny Dimes remains the kind of stylistic quarterback he's been the last couple of years, those are two guys that can take a lot of those passes and turn them into something good. And then on the outside, you have got the enticement to be more aggressive and vertical with Alec Pierce and maybe A.D. Mitchell if he, features more in this offense. I'm kind of here to see what this offense looks like.
Yeah, I mean, if I love Josh Downs, he's dealing with a hamstring. That's scary at this point in the season. So I don't know what happens there, but Tyler Warren looked like he's ready to make an instant impact, both from preseason, from our in-person look at training camp. He looks like he will be a high-volume, underneath target, QB-friendly, soft hands, good feel versus zone, can get open versus man, not afraid to go over the middle and up the seam. So I think Tyler Warren makes an instant impact for this offense.
Yep.
Pierce down the field. Pittman is a high-volume receiver as well. When Downs is healthy, he has that. I mean, you have a good group of pass catchers there. And in this particular matchup where Miami already on paper had the worst cornerback situation, then they're picking up Juju Brents on waivers, from the Colts as still a developmental, really long athletic corner. They're signing Rasul Douglas in free agency, which is fine. But there might be a lot of pressure on Rasul Douglas to be the guy. I mean, the number one corner for Miami on this team, where it's Jack Jones and Storm Duck. I mean, it's not a good group on paper, though Jack Jones has had some high highs, but just no consistency there.
I think they upgraded in all the signings they made at corner, but all of them are pretty new in the building. You know what I mean? So the guys that are their best players are also the most recent to arrive, and who knows what that's going to look like. Overall, it still looks like not a great spot.
So it's a fascinating roster for Miami because I think they're weak at corner, but you could put their trio of pass rushers, if they're all ready to go and healthy, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, when they're all healthy and good to go, that's a good trio. That's up there with Pittsburgh and some of the other teams that you could trot out there. So I think they have a chance. And then if Kenneth Grant, who's questionable, pushing the pocket in the middle, it's not even a push the pocket, right? It's quickness and just disruption in the middle. That's why they took him in the first round. So there's a chance this is a pretty good pass rush that can help protect that secondary. But I really like the way Indy's pass catchers look, and I think Daniel Jones can at least get them the ball. I just want to see if he can hit a couple over the top, right? Yeah. Can he get those Alex Pierce shots? Doesn't have to be 60 yards like Anthony Richardson, but at least some of those deep opportunities.
Yeah, Zach Sealer is one of the most underrated defensive linemen in the NFL as well. Yeah, the front seven from Miami has the potential to be pretty good. The concern for them in this game is that almost everybody of consequence is questionable coming off an injury, and a lot of them are expected to play week one, but still, you don't love that as a timing thing, they're going to make it for week one, having been on the shelf for the entire time. Maybe it'll work, but even if just one or two of those guys actually questionable turns out to be, still hindered in week one, it's problematic.
Got to keep an eye on Miami's offensive line. Patrick Paul, now the full-time starter in year 2 at left tackle. Jonas Savanier, the second-round pick that they traded up for at left guard. He struggled in the preseason. Tua has been able to protect the offensive line, at least from a pass protection standpoint. His quick release, combined with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill's ability to get open quickly, that has protected the offensive line. But every single time Tua has to hold the ball a tick longer, I think it's scary up front, especially with the Colts' defensive front that has a lot of potential there, especially if Laiatu Latu, takes another step forward this year. DeForest Buckner, I think he's a star on the interior. So I'll be watching that matchup pretty closely Miami's offensive line and if they could
Yeah.
slow down the Colts up front. Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action.
That offensive line has bottom offensive line in the NFL potential. As you said, it's hidden quite a bit because Tua in any given year probably will have the fastest average time to throw in football, and that's huge for an offensive line. Like, you're talking about, on average, at least half a second and maybe as much as a second, depending on who you're comparing him to, in difference per snap in terms of how long those guys are asked to pass protect. And that doesn't sound like much, but it is an absolute eternity. Like, generally speaking, 2.5 seconds is sort of the NFL standard for like when you want pressure to arrive or when you expect it to arrive. If you have a guy that's consistently under that number, like theoretically every single snap is less likely for pressure to arrive than it is for it to arrive. Conversely, if you've got a guy that's existing on the far side of 3 seconds, basically every snap, you're expecting pressure to arrive. So, like, Tua's release is genuinely the difference between expecting pressure and not expecting pressure on most plays. So it makes a massive difference to the offensive line. But even with that, they might be bad enough that it's problematic. Then the fascinating thing, I think, will be this Miami run game, which has been creative. And for the first time, I'm really interested in Ollie Gordon, because he's a totally different style. They've been stockpiling these undersized speedster running backs within this offensive scheme. And obviously Devon Achane, also coming back off injury, has been really dynamic and explosive within this offense. Ollie Gordon brings something totally different to the table. Ollie Gordon is like, well, what if instead of these fast, explosive guys that can pick their gap and take a small crease into a big gain, what if we just put an old school giant bruiser back there and say, all right, son, pound the rock, right? Like it's 1985. Go nuts. What does that look like? And, last year in college, it was terrible. Ollie Gordon had no offensive line in front of him and couldn't get anywhere. And it was like, okay, this is the limitations of a big bruising back. But the year before, you saw, actually, if you give the guy a little bit of space, the dude can be incredibly productive. So I'm really interested to see, does this offensive line have enough as a run blocking unit to give Ollie Gordon just enough space that he actually looks like, a dominant old school running back?
In that conversation between Grant in the first, Savanier in the second, Gordon as more of a power back than they've had, I'm sure that conversation was happening in the building. Hey, we have to be more physical. We know we have to run the ball against the best team. So let's see how this looks in week one. Matchup-wise, I do think, again, I keep citing DeForest Buckner. That dude could dominate this game, especially against the rookie.
Right.
And then we're always blessed. We used to get this twice a year. Anytime Aaron Brewer has a chance to block DeForest Buckner, Aaron Brewer, the Willie Lampkin,
wait till we get that.
Aaron Brewer walked so Willie Lampkin can run.
We are months removed from Willie Lampkin attempting to block Dexter Lawrence.
Oh, my gosh, I can't wait. It's going to be great. Willie can do it. He can do it. Maybe. But Buckner against the undersized modern marvel that is Aaron Brewer against DeForest Buckner. They've had some epic battles with completely different pad levels, we'll say.
Fascinating human interest story in this game as well. We have the first rapper turned football player in Darren Waller playing tight end for the Miami Dolphins.
That's good.
You don't see that every day.
You don't see it. Good. Inspirational to rappers everywhere. Right. That you too could just step in.
And there's another one apparently trying to become a college football player as well. It's like Darren Waller's just paving the way for rappers, the rapper to NFL pipeline.
Him and Aaron Brewer, just a lot of way paving.
Breaking ground.
Colts are favored by 1.5 here at home. Over-under is 46.5 in the Dome. Where are you going with this one?
Which I was telling you before, I believe has swung. I think Miami were favored early, and it's gone to Indianapolis. I'm going with the Colts. I do have a degree of faith and belief in this Daniel Jones thing, which may only last the duration of this game. But for now, I'm going to put some belief in Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins, until proven otherwise, are going to be very difficult to peg because I see the holes and I see the high-end star power of Tua throwing the ball to Waddle and Hill, especially in the Dome. The speed's going to play there. So I'll take Miami as underdogs here this week, as will Harry, also taking the Dolphins.
One last thing, by the way. I'm kind of curious if the Colts are going to find any way at all of involving Anthony Richardson still.
Oh, yeah, I meant to mention that as well, yeah.
Short yardage, QB sneak quarterback. red zone quarterback and specific like low red zone quarterback, 4th and goal from the 3. Do you have an Anthony Richardson play that you don't want to have for Danny Dimes, but like we're going to go old school wing T because we have Anthony Richardson at quarterback?
Plus that one formation that we saw that we can't talk about at camp.
Right.
From camp.
Stuff
so
like
once
that.
we see it, I'll say, we saw that at camp. But they had a formation that caught my eye.
We're good, honest media fellows.
We are.
That
I don't want to
believe
get
in the embargo and the old school.
I don't want the PR people to get mad at us for breaking rules.
We had that email from a guy that pointed out that I can't believe neither of us thought of. We have not brought up to the Bengals that I am a member of the Associated Press 50 voters. I have an Associated Press MVP vote. How am I not establishment enough to be in the building?
You're going to be sitting you're going to be sitting next to Paul Dehner by yourself. You're going to get a prime seat right next to Paul while I'm going to be on the outside.
I am Associated Press. It doesn't get any more.
Jeff Hobson's not voting in the AP.
It doesn't get. I don't think so. It doesn't get any more old school than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no. Maybe you should reach out.
You think Lapp has an AP vote? Dave Lapham?
Absolutely not.
Let him in the building.
We'll talk about that when we talk Bengals. You're going. They got a Thursday night game. We need to get in, and you're the key.
We need to send him that email and be like,
it needs to be stern too. As one of the 50 Associated Press
It has come
voters.
to my attention.
Yeah. Are you turning down my podcast
that
partner's
you have been
request?
uncooperative to the Associated Press.
Yeah, and we're 10 minutes from the stadium. We're actually walking distance. We could walk to the stadium.
Yeah, from here.
Park here and walk.
Got to walk through some sketchy stuff, but you could walk it.
Day games would be better than night games. Dolphins for me and Harry. You're taking the Colts.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?